Some nights, I find myself lying awake, gazing at the ceiling, grappling with the whirlwind of emotions that led to this unexpected unraveling. In an instant, I found myself on the brink of a life-altering commitment to the woman who held my heart. In an instant, I vanished, slipping away into the shadows, abandoning the future I believed we were crafting side by side. She was known as Natalia. From the instant our paths crossed, an undeniable spark ignited within me, revealing a depth of feeling I had never encountered before. She possessed an enchanting ability to make me believe I was the sole man alive, wrapped in a cocoon of longing and unspoken yearnings. The sound of her laughter, a melody that danced around my heart, and the gentle brush of her fingers against mine as we strolled together, ignited a spark that felt both thrilling and forbidden, so deeply felt. For 4 years, I was enveloped in the belief that I had discovered my soulmate, that we were invincible. The wedding loomed just weeks ahead. We chose the venue as a team, passionately discussed the shades of napkins, and even found ourselves in a heated debate over the open bar. Her suggestion, a bold choice, while I leaned toward simplicity. It was just the usual, the kind of minor conflicts that every couple navigates through. Yet, in retrospect, the signs were there waiting to be acknowledged. She had felt like a shadow, drifting away into the depths of her own thoughts, neither indifferent nor harsh, simply less engaged than she once was. She found herself lost in her phone, a smile gracing her lips as she read messages that remained her secret. I attributed it to the overwhelming pressure of the impending wedding. Perhaps she was engulfed by emotions, or maybe she was simply savoring these fleeting instants before we stepped into the sacred bond of marriage. Then, one evening, she spoke of an intimate gathering with a few close friends. A modest gathering to mark the beginning of a new chapter, filled with unspoken excitement and hidden yearnings. A night filled with unexpected thrills and unspoken longings. She spoke of it with such ease, as if it were the most ordinary occurrence imaginable. I recall the moment she prepared herself that evening, perched on the edge of our bed as she faced the mirror, a silent tension hanging in the air. She appeared breathtaking, her hair cascading in perfect curls, the dress embracing her form with an alluring grace. Yet, an unsettling feeling lingered in the air. As her gaze met mine, a playful smirk danced across her lips, and she provocatively asked, "What? You treat me as if I've never ventured into the world beyond these walls." I let out a hollow chuckle. I was savoring every moment. I confessed to her, "Your beauty captivates me." Her lips brushed against mine in a fleeting moment, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and wrong. She whispered, "Don't wait up." I urged myself to release it, to set it free. She was entitled to a night of freedom, and my unease felt utterly absurd. Yet, the way she whispered those words, "Don't wait up," lingered in my mind, igniting a spark of longing I couldn't ignore. That night, rest eluded me. I writhed in restlessness, my thoughts plunging into depths I longed to avoid. As the clock struck 3 a.m. and she remained absent, an unexpected impulse surged within me, compelling me to act in ways I had never imagined. I found myself drawn to her whereabouts. The sight before me sent a shiver through my core, awakening a tumult of feelings I thought I had buried deep within. She found herself in a place that felt both thrilling and dangerous, far removed from the ordinary settings of her life. She found herself in a secluded place across town, a hidden spot she had never revealed to anyone. As I lingered in that moment, my gaze fixed on the screen, an electric tremor coursed through my hands. Every logical fragment within me struggled to find a reason for it. Perhaps a friend of hers resided in that place, stirring a longing deep within her heart. Perhaps they had simply chosen to shift the gathering elsewhere. Yet, beneath the surface, an undeniable truth lingered within me. Yet, I lingered in the shadows of my longing. As she stepped through the door, the soft glow of the sun began to filter through the blinds, casting a warm light that felt both familiar and intoxicating. I heard her soft footsteps as she slipped through the door, attempting to be silent, unaware that I was wide awake, engulfed in a sea of doubt. Her scent was intoxicatingly unique, not akin to fragrance, not akin to perspiration, simply transformed. I remained silent. I lay there, gazing at the ceiling, sensing a deep fissure forming within me. There was nothing to substantiate my feelings. No validation. A deep, unsettling intuition whispered that the woman I was on the brink of marrying had deceived me in a manner that eluded my comprehension. In that instant, a profound shift occurred within me, forever altering the way I would perceive her. I lay there, absorbing the sound of Natalia navigating the apartment, my thoughts swirling with uninvited emotions I wished to suppress. The sound of her heels gently falling to the floor filled the air, accompanied by the delicate whisper of fabric as she transformed, and the soft sigh of weariness as she nestled into bed next to me. She likely believed I was lost in slumber, as silence enveloped the space between us. Not a word of remorse, not a hint of reasoning, only an aching stillness. Yet I found myself wide awake. My body felt paralyzed, each breath deliberate, while my heart raced wildly within me. I had spent the entire night grappling with my thoughts, trying to silence the whispers of longing that stirred within me. There must be a deeper, unspoken reason for her presence in a place she had never revealed, stirring a sense of intrigue and longing within her. Perhaps I was simply a fool for delving into it all. Yet, her silent approach, akin to a stealthy intruder aware of their secret, dismantled that facade completely. The heat radiating from her skin enveloped me. Yet in that moment, she seemed like an unfamiliar soul, distant and elusive. I felt an overwhelming urge to face her, to rise, illuminate the shadows, and seek the hidden truths that linger in the depths of the heart. Yet, a deep-seated fear gripped me, haunted by the weight of unspoken words, terrified of the truths that may unfold, haunted by the thought that the life we once cherished, the dreams I had envisioned, might already be lost to me, lingering in the shadows of my unawareness. Instead, I lingered in the shadows of my longing. The following morning, she stirred before I did, quietly leaving the warmth of the bed with a soft, sleepy exhale. I stood still, captivated by the gentle shuffle of her footsteps toward the bathroom, the water cascading in a soothing rhythm, and the tender notes of her voice weaving through the air as she lost herself in song. As if everything was perfectly in place. As if she hadn't returned at the break of day from a realm shrouded in mystery. I willed myself to rise, stepping into the kitchen, the aroma of brewing coffee mingling with the tremor in my hands. As she stepped out, enveloped in a towel, her hair cascading with droplets, she offered me a smile that felt like a secret, as if time had paused just for us. As dawn broke, she whispered a soft greeting, her lips brushing against mine in a fleeting moment that ignited a spark of longing. I surrendered to her touch, despite the deep, unsettling whispers within me that warned of the danger lurking beneath the surface. "You were out late," I remarked softly, my gaze fixed on her, searching for the flicker of emotion in her eyes. She let out a soft yawn, her arms reaching out as if awakening from a deep slumber, a hint of longing flickering in her eyes. The girls were eager to prolong the night, so we found ourselves at Camille's cousin's place, where the air was thick with unspoken possibilities. I intended to reach out, but I thought you might be lost in dreams by now. I observed her intently. The way she averted her gaze, just a fraction too often, stirred something deep within me. The moment she effortlessly mentioned a name that was entirely unfamiliar to me. Her deceit flowed from her lips with a grace that left me breathless, and I felt it deep within me. I was unaware of the intricacies. There was no need for a confession, no evidence to present, yet deep down I was aware. I nodded slowly, masking the turmoil within as I feigned belief in her words. "Yeah, I fell into a restless slumber," I said, taking a sip of coffee that now felt like a dark reminder of unspoken longings. "I'm so pleased to hear you enjoyed yourself." She radiated joy as she strolled by to get ready, blissfully ignorant of the storm of memories and feelings that were consuming me, unraveling the depths of what we shared. The remainder of the day unfolded in a dreamlike haze. I moved through life like a shadow, masking the turmoil within, while my heart ached with unspoken longings. I revisited each exchange we shared over the last few weeks, every instant that now seemed tinged with an unsettling allure. The long, quiet hours, the unexpected craving for distance, the way she began to guard her phone, a stark contrast to her former openness. And then, I embraced a choice that stirred something deep within me. I was compelled to uncover the hidden reality. As the moonlight spilled into the room and Natalia drifted into a peaceful slumber, I found myself drawn to her phone, compelled to uncover the secrets it held. My hands trembled with anticipation as I turned the key. Fortunately, the familiar numbers remained unchanged, a secret doorway to the past. My heart raced as I sifted through her messages, yearning for a sign, a whisper of hope that might prove my doubts unfounded. Yet, I found myself lost in the depths of longing. I stumbled upon the group chat, a dialogue filled with her so-called friends. Yet it wasn't solely about them. Hidden within were echoes of other names. Unfamiliar names lingered in the air, evoking a sense of longing and intrigue, and messages that stirred a tumult of feelings within me. Last night was a whirlwind of passion and longing. It's hard to fathom that she finally decided to join us. Initially, she felt a flutter of anxiety, but oh, how quickly she surrendered to the moment. I knew she would adore it. Do you believe she will return the next time? A wave of nausea washed over me. My heart raced as I clicked on the attached photos, each image stirring a whirlwind of feelings within me. Their intentions lingered in the air, unspoken yet palpable. Natalia, in a place that felt both unfamiliar and intoxicating. Enveloped in a crowd of unfamiliar faces. With a drink in hand, she laughed, radiating a joy that had been absent for far too long. I tightened my jaw, my fingers trembling as I scrolled deeper, each breath a fleeting whisper of urgency. And then I uncovered the most painful truth. A secret whisper shared between two souls. Last night was a breathtaking journey of longing and passion. My mind is consumed by it. You're truly extraordinary. Delivered to her heart. From a name that stirred something deep within me, something I had never encountered before. What did she say in return? You're a captivating enigma. But I experienced a thrill that was undeniably exhilarating. I let the phone slip from my grasp. My hands trembled with an intensity that made me fear I would lose my grip entirely. My heart raced wildly, threatening to overwhelm me in a dizzying rush. A heavy silence enveloped me, as if the very breath of life had vanished from the space around us. This was more than a mere error. This was more than a mere lapse in judgment fueled by alcohol. She had orchestrated every moment of this longing. She had embraced this choice. And the most heart-wrenching aspect? She returned to me afterward, her kiss a facade of normalcy, as if the world outside had not shifted, and she lay beside me, a ghost of intimacy, as though I were merely a shadow in her life. I sat there, clutching the edge of the bed, my thoughts swirling with a tempest of feelings. Fury, sorrow, and an overwhelming sense of disbelief. Yet, a singular truth emerged from the shadows. The woman I was destined to wed revealed layers I never anticipated. And this union? It was a dream forever out of reach. Sleep eluded me that night. I found myself unable to. My thoughts spiraled through the messages, the images, the teasing smirk in her words that struck me like a jolt of electricity. I lay there, gazing at the ceiling, captivated by the gentle cadence of her breath, pondering how she could drift into such serene slumber while my heart felt like it was unraveling. I contemplated rousing her from her slumber, yearning for the truth in that very moment, compelling her to confess the secrets she held within. But what would that truly transform? She would deceive. She would twist my reality, leaving me questioning my own sanity for daring to inquire. I had encountered it previously, listened to the tales from others who had walked the same path as I. It was unimaginable that I would find myself among their ranks. Morning arrived, bringing with it a haunting revelation that stirred the depths of my soul. Natalia glided through the apartment, her demeanor casual. Yet beneath the surface, a tempest of unspoken truths lingered in the air, heavy with the weight of unacknowledged feelings. Her lips brushed against my cheek, a fleeting touch that felt both tender and treacherous. As she poured herself a cup of coffee, Her fingers danced over the screen of her phone, likely reaching out to those who had conspired against me, weaving a web of betrayal that hung heavy in the air. I observed her intently, analyzing each gesture, yearning to find a trace of remorse, a flicker of doubt, anything that might reveal a hint of regret for her actions. Yet, an emptiness lingered. "Hey," she murmured, her eyes meeting mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. "We must revisit the seating arrangement for the wedding." The words struck me with an intensity that left me breathless. The ceremony of union, a union that was destined to remain a dream unfulfilled. The wedding she continued to feign was genuine, all the while engaging in secret rendezvous behind my back. I masked my true feelings with a smile, giving a hesitant nod. "Indeed, we must." I realized in that moment that a grand, theatrical showdown was not the answer to my turmoil. I felt an overwhelming urge to vanish into the shadows, to depart in a manner that left her utterly astonished, just as she had left me in disbelief. Allow her to experience the jolt, the bewilderment, the void within. Let her awaken one fateful morning, filled with dreams of becoming a bride, only to be met with an echoing void of silence. Yet, I needed to ensure she remained blissfully unaware of what was about to unfold. Throughout the day, I embraced my role. I spoke of the wedding as if my heart still held a place for it, feigning interest as she excitedly shared details about final dress fittings and floral arrangements. I found myself saying yes when she proposed we share a meal with her parents that weekend. In the depths of my heart, I was crafting my escape. The moment she stepped out for her day, I found myself drawn into a world of my own making. I reached out to Adrian, my closest confidant, the one soul I felt I could truly rely on. As I shared my truth with him, an aching stillness enveloped the conversation, stretching out like an unspoken tension between us. "Oh," he finally spoke up. "Are you really certain you don't wish to face her?" I turned away, my heart racing, knowing he was oblivious to my silent rejection. "No, she will deceive. She'll bend it to her will." I crave the intensity, Adrian. I yearn for freedom. He let out a breath, heavy with unspoken longing. "All right, my friend. What is it that your heart truly seeks? Guide me into the shadows." In that moment, everything fell into place, igniting a spark that felt both exhilarating and dangerous. I took my first tentative steps. I gathered the necessities, my passport, a handful of clothes, and the crucial papers I wished to keep from her grasp. I moved my funds to a new account, ensuring that she would remain completely unaware and unable to access a single dollar of it. I took the step of canceling the lease on our apartment, submitting the notice to our landlord solely in my name. She would be caught completely off guard. In that moment, I poured my heart into the letter. It consumed me for hours, crafting the perfect words to express the profound impact she had on my soul, all while maintaining a calm and steady tone. Ultimately, I chose to embrace simplicity. "Nataliet, I understand. I am aware of the gathering. I am aware of the messages. I'm aware of the man who shared your night while I sat at home, believing we were crafting a future side by side. I understand everything deeply. I won't squander my words on questions that linger in the shadows. Nothing holds significance now. I want you to understand that I truly recognize the depths of your being now. The dream of a wedding has slipped away. When you come across these words, I will have already slipped away. I wonder if what you sought that night truly fulfilled the longing within you. Do not waste your time searching for me." I etched my name onto the paper, carefully folded the letter, and placed it on the kitchen counter, knowing she would find it the moment she stepped through the door. In that moment, I turned my back, leaving everything behind without a trace of hesitation. I left behind every trace that could evoke her memory. I rushed past the shadows of what once was, neglecting the space to grieve the life that slipped through my fingers. For the reality was that existence had always been a mere illusion. Everything was a facade. As I drove away, leaving behind the city, the apartment, and the woman I had once envisioned sharing my future with, an unexpected wave of emotion washed over me. Sweet release. After what felt like an eternity, I found a moment to truly inhale again. The most curious aspect of vanishing is the surprising simplicity with which it can be done. People often believe that it requires careful orchestration, extensive forethought, and a complete transformation of self. Yet, in truth, it's about taking that step away and choosing not to glance back. As I drove away from the familiar streets, a part of me anticipated a wave of remorse, a deep-seated need to reverse course and plead with Natalia for clarity. Yet, as I ventured deeper, it became painfully clear that all hope of recovery had slipped away. What words could escape her lips? Was it truly a misstep? That it held no significance? I had glimpsed the messages, the images that stirred something deep within me. I had absorbed her words, infused with thrill and allure, devoid of any trace of remorse or doubt. No, I didn't seek clarity. I craved space. Adrian had arranged a secluded retreat for me, a cabin nestled in the heart of nowhere, far from the city's grasp. It was a relic of his uncle, brought out only for the thrill of the hunt, and it was precisely what my heart yearned for. In the stillness, I found a sanctuary, a moment untouched by the chaos that had enveloped my existence. Alone in the stillness, surrounded by a collection of forgotten stories waiting to be unveiled. As I drove onto the gravel driveway, a heavy sigh escaped my lips, a release of tension I hadn't known I was carrying. The cabin, though modest in size, stood resilient, nestled among the towering pine trees that exuded the intoxicating scent of impending rain. I emerged from the car, limbs unfurling, as the heaviness of the past few days sank deep into my very being. Within those walls, simplicity reigned. Wooden floors creaked softly. A stone fireplace stood as a silent witness, and the furniture whispered tales of a bygone era, untouched since the early 90s. I felt indifferent. I came seeking something deeper, something that stirred the soul. I found myself in a whirlwind of confusion, searching for clarity in the midst of my tangled emotions. For the first few hours, I found myself lost in thought, gazing out the window, attempting to unravel the tangled emotions within me. It lingered in the air, a haunting sensation that refused to settle into reality. The wedding invitations had already been sent, sealing a fate that felt both thrilling and haunting. Our families envisioned a joyous celebration, a shared future, a life we had vowed to create together. But while I had been envisioning an endless future, Natalia had been slipping away to what? To pursue a fleeting excitement? To experience a longing that I seemingly failed to provide her? I pushed the thought aside, trying to escape its pull. It was inconsequential. It would remain unchanged. The sudden buzz of my phone jolted me from my reverie. A message from Adrian. Have you taken that step? My fingers lingered over the keyboard, caught in a moment of uncertainty. Indeed, I'm free now. Moments later, a new message appeared. Are you all right? That question stirred something deep within me. Was I truly all right? Uncertainty lingered within me. A silence enveloped me, a profound emptiness that defied description. Silence enveloped me. I switched off my phone, letting it fall onto the coffee table with a sense of finality. The following days unfolded in a haze of quietude. I awoke in the late hours, lingering outside as the sun enveloped my face, my thoughts wandering through a maze of frustration and void. I fought to push Natalia from my thoughts, yet she haunted me like a specter, her laughter echoing, her voice a soft whisper, and the way she had gazed at me just days prior, as if the world around us was untouched by turmoil. I pondered the moment she stumbled upon my letter, imagining her reaction. Whether it was one of disbelief, a pang of guilt, or perhaps a dismissive scoff as she plotted her next escapade. I found myself lost in thoughts of her, pondering whether she was seeking me out, turning to others, inquiring about my absence. It's a realm I can only imagine. My phone remained silent, a stillness that echoed the unspoken yearnings within me. On the fourth day, Jonas appeared unexpectedly, a six-pack clutched in one hand and a bag of takeout in the other, igniting a spark of something long buried within me. He stepped inside with an air of confidence, offering a beer as if it were a key to unlock hidden feelings, and a taste of something forbidden. Your appearance is quite disheveled. A soft, unexpected laugh escaped my lips, the first genuine sound of joy in what felt like an eternity. "Thank you. I feel utterly lost." We lingered on the porch, lost in quietude, the gentle whisper of the wind weaving through the trees, the sole companion in our shared solitude. "Have you ever pondered the path that lies ahead of you?" At long last, he summoned the courage to ask. I breathed out gently, my gaze fixed on the distant horizon. "Not quite. At this moment, I'm navigating the depths of my soul, seeking to understand how to live without the weight of a facade that has overshadowed my existence." Jonah nodded, savoring the moment as he took a sip of his beer, lost in a whirlwind of unspoken feelings. "That feels just right." Silence enveloped us for what felt like an eternity, and truthfully, I felt a deep sense of appreciation for it. I sought no counsel. I craved the thrill of uncertainty. I longed to linger in the aftermath, allowing the remnants of my choices to envelop me, giving time for clarity to emerge before I chose my path forward. One truth lingered in the shadows, undeniable and profound. I couldn't return to that place again. The initial days following my disappearance were dreamlike, as if I had entered an alternate reality where everything was disjointed and incomprehensible. The stillness of the cabin wrapped around me, a bittersweet embrace that stirred long-buried feelings within. It allowed me the freedom to reflect, yet it rendered every feeling intensely vivid. In the stillness away from the city's chaos, I found a space untouched by the clamor of everyday existence and the relentless cycle of wedding plans. Instead, I felt the burden of the past enveloping me, saturating each moment with a tumultuous blend of fury, bewilderment, and an unacknowledged ache that lingered just beneath the surface. For years, I devoted myself to a life with Natalia, believing she was the one with whom I would share my twilight years. Now, that chapter of my existence had been torn from me in the most shaming manner imaginable. I was navigating the depths of a shattered connection. I was grappling with the painful realization that the one I had held closest to my heart had been concealing a hidden existence just out of my sight. The betrayal ran deeper than her actions alone. It was in the ease with which she wove her deceit, how she gazed into my eyes each day, convincing me of a love that felt so real yet was so profoundly untrue. And now, she was likely in a whirlwind of emotions, anxiously questioning my sudden absence. Since my departure, my phone has remained untouched, a silent witness to the emotions swirling within me. The sight of her name appearing was something I dreaded. I was weary of her justifications, her insincere apologies, her frantic efforts to twist the narrative into something redeemable. I had embraced my decision. I thought I had moved on from her. Yet that didn't signify the end of her feelings for me. I felt her presence drawing near, an inevitable pull that stirred something deep within me, and I knew it all along. As dawn broke on the sixth day, an overwhelming urge surged within me, compelling me to finally switch on my phone. It was driven by a longing that could not be ignored. I felt a stirring within me as I approached my bank accounts, a mix of anticipation and trepidation, wanting to ensure that all was as it should be. As the screen flickered to life, I was overwhelmed by a flood of missed calls, voicemails, and messages, the majority of which were from Natalia. As I navigated through the notifications, a wave of longing washed over me, my heart tightening with each desperate message I encountered. "Where have you gone? What is this feeling stirring within me? Return to the place where your heart longs to be. Let's delve into this together. I long to be in your presence once more. This is utterly overwhelming. You're being overly dramatic. Just let me know that you're okay." The messages began with a sense of urgency, gradually shifting to a tone of yearning, and eventually, they settled into a quiet exasperation. The recent messages felt brief, distant, lacking warmth. "Your reaction is quite over the top. If you choose to flee in fear, perhaps it's for the greater good." I felt a surge of tension, my jaw set and my fingers tightening around the phone. There she stood, a vision that stirred something deep within. The true essence of Natalia, the one who struggled to embrace the thrill of surrender. I remained silent. I couldn't bring myself to listen to the voicemails. I set the phone aside, releasing a deep breath. She felt no remorse, She felt a deep sense of loss that I had slipped away before she could weave her spell to keep me close. A part of me felt a deep ache, questioning how long she had harbored this secret, or if she had ever truly meant to share it with me. Would she have walked down the aisle, masking the turmoil within her heart? Could she have faced our loved ones, uttering promises that held no truth? The idea twisted in my stomach, a tumult of conflicting feelings. When Adrian reappeared, I had resolved to banish her from my thoughts, determined not to let my heart linger on what could never be. He pulled up next to me, the engine's hum fading as he emerged, 2 grocery bags cradled in his arms, a hint of something unspoken lingering in the air. He tossed them onto the counter, a hint of playful mockery in his voice. I figured you were probably surviving on canned soup by now. I let out a sharp breath of disbelief, close enough to feel the pull. Adrian reached for a cold beer from the fridge, the sound of the can cracking open echoing in the stillness as he leaned against the counter, lost in thought. Are you ready to reveal what comes next? Or are you simply contemplating a life of solitude among the peaks? I let out a heavy sigh, my fingers tangling in my hair as I pondered the depths of my longing. I find myself lost in a whirlwind of feelings, unsure of what to grasp or let go. It seems that returning would mean confronting all the hidden truths and unspoken longings that linger in the shadows. The inquiries, the tension, the glances from those who will pity my situation. He nodded, a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken longing that lingered between them. Indeed, you will. Yet, remaining in this moment of longing is not a possibility that can last indefinitely. Deep down, I understood the truth of his words. Despite my yearning to remain in the shadows, to sidestep the chaos that loomed, I realized I couldn't pause my existence merely due to Natalia's treachery. I found myself yearning to understand what the path ahead might hold, despite the uncertainty that clouded my beginning. Adrian's gaze lingered on me, a silent tension hanging in the air, before he finally placed his beer aside. I understand this might be hard to accept, but it's likely she'll continue to make contact. She's the kind who clings to what stirs her heart, refusing to let it slip away. I let out a derisive laugh. Indeed, that feeling resonates deeply within me. Are you going to respond to her? I turned away, overwhelmed by the weight of my thoughts. No, all words have faded into silence. Adrian let out a soft sigh, a flicker of something deeper crossing his expression. Excellent. I whispered softly. Knowing her, she's likely already crafting a narrative that twists this into something entirely her own. Transform herself into the one who suffers. The last message she sent lingered in my mind, accusing me of cowardice, as if I were the one who had turned my back on her trust. It was almost amusing how swiftly she had transformed. So close. I let out a breath, gazing through the window, captivated by the way the trees danced gently in the wind. Whispers of uncertainty lingered in the air as I pondered what lay ahead. Adrian placed his hand gently on my shoulder, a spark igniting between us. Then let us unravel this together. And for the first time since I departed, I truly felt that it could be within reach. The following morning, I awoke enveloped in an unexpected clarity, as if the veil of confusion had been lifted, revealing hidden truths within my heart. It wasn't tranquility, not just yet, but it was the nearest I had come to that elusive feeling in days. The anger lingered, a quiet storm beneath my skin, yet it no longer clouded my mind with its chaos. It became intense, piercing, and unyielding, igniting my next moves rather than holding me back. Natalia was still yearning to connect with me. The moment I hesitated, a familiar ache stirred within me, whispering secrets I had long buried. It had turned into a ritual, glancing at my messages, hoping to find that nothing had shifted, that she remained caught in the throes of her struggle to shape the story. I remained silent. I simply can't. Yet, there was an undeniable pull in the last message she had sent that lingered in my mind. If you choose to flee in fear, perhaps it's for the greater good. A wave of unexpected amusement washed over me as I read it. Was I the one who lacked courage? She was the one who had shattered my trust, casting aside all we built for fleeting moments of thrill. And yet, in her heart, I was the one to blame for not succumbing to the shadows of her manipulation, for daring to break free from the intoxicating pull that sought to bind me. It was a revelation that pierced through the layers of my understanding, unveiling the depths of her being that I had barely scratched the surface of. I devoted the day to tidying the cabin, seeking a fragile sense of order amidst the chaos of my thoughts. Adrian had departed at dawn, vowing to reach out later, yet I found solace in my solitude. What I craved was a vision, a tangible goal to ignite my passion. The initial move was to sever all ties with Natalia permanently. I settled into the small wooden table, my laptop glowing before me, as I began to sift through every lingering thread that bound us together. Joint accounts, shared subscriptions, each detail a bittersweet reminder of what once was. One by one, I let them go. I moved my funds into a secluded account, erased my name from our lease, which, fortunately, had always been solely under my credit, and ensured she had no legal means to find me. As I toiled, my mind wandered to the way she might respond. I imagined her swiping through her bank app, her heart sinking as the balance stared back at her, empty and unforgiving. I envisioned her reaching out to the landlord, a swirl of confusion enveloping her as she grappled with the unexpected burden of managing everything alone. Would she feel a surge of anger? Would she weep? Would she truly feel anything at all? That lingering thought consumed me in ways I was reluctant to acknowledge. I longed for her to feel something for me, not because I yearned for her return, heavens no, but because I craved for her to truly grasp the burden of her actions. Yet that no longer held any weight in my heart. As the afternoon sun began to wane, I found myself reflecting on the tasks I had completed, each one a step towards something deeper, something I had longed for but dared not acknowledge. The next step was to delve into the depths of my existence and uncover what my life had transformed into now. I once held a fulfilling position in the heart of the city. In truth, the possibility of returning is always within my grasp. Yet the thought of stepping back into those familiar streets, those haunting spots where I had woven a life with Natalia, sent shivers down my spine. Everywhere I turned, echoes of longing would linger in the air. Each well-known visage brought forth a torrent of inquiries, sorrowful gazes, and conversations that felt like a heavy burden. I found myself unable to take that step. Not at this moment. In a moment of deep reflection, I found myself at a crossroads, compelled to embrace a choice that stirred something profound within me. I picked up my phone, my fingers trembling as I scrolled through my contacts, finally landing on the number that had remained untouched for years. It rang twice, the sound echoing with a sense of longing, before a deep, familiar voice enveloped me. I was taken by surprise to receive your message. I exhaled softly, my fingers tangling in my hair as I surrendered to the moment. Hey Henry. In that moment, time seemed to stand still. So, are you feeling all right? It was just a simple question. Yet the way he posed it, the way he sensed the turmoil within me without a single word spoken, nearly shattered my composure. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of unspoken longing in my chest. Not quite. A moment of stillness lingers. In that moment, his voice was a whisper of longing, an invitation that stirred something deep within her. Come home, he urged, and the weight of those words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken emotions and the thrill of what could be. In that fleeting moment, clarity washed over me, revealing the path I was meant to take. That night, I gathered my belongings with a heart full of longing. It felt surreal, cramming all my belongings into one duffel bag, awakening to the truth of how little truly mattered. A handful of garments, my laptop, the necessities. All else could remain untouched. Everything had lost its significance. The journey back to my hometown felt endless, the open highway unfurling before me as the sky deepened into darkness, each mile pulling me further away from the life I once knew. It had been ages since I last returned. Not since my mother left this world. My Henry and I had always maintained a certain distance between us. He was the silent, introspective type, the kind of man whose affection manifested in subtle gestures rather than spoken declarations. As I ventured into the city, I carried with me a sense of finality, never anticipating that I would find my way back. Yet, In this moment, I found myself adrift with no other path to follow. As I arrived at the familiar old house, the porch light flickered to life, illuminating the weathered wooden steps with a soft, inviting glow. The sight of it stirred a tumult of feelings within me. Nostalgia, relief, and a hint of sorrow that felt almost overwhelming. The front door swung open, anticipation crackling in the air before I had even set foot outside the car. My dad stood there, arms crossed, his gaze piercing through me, leaving me with a swirl of unspoken emotions I struggled to decipher. He appeared more aged than I recalled, the creases on his face etched with time, his hair a tapestry of gray shadows. I closed the car door behind me and let out a deep breath, feeling the weight of unspoken yearnings linger in the air. "Greetings," he nodded, a subtle shift in his demeanor as he stepped aside, the air thick with unspoken tension. "Step inside." The house carried the familiar scent, evoking a rush of memories long buried and emotions once hidden. Weathered timber, the rich aroma of coffee, a whisper of nostalgia that danced just out of reach. I placed my bag in the hallway, an overwhelming sense of disconnection washing over me in the very home where I once felt so secure. My Henry gestured toward the kitchen, a silent invitation that stirred something deep within me. "Are you craving something deep and intense?" A soft chuckle escaped me. Naturally, that was his initial reaction. "What has transpired? Are you really all right?" It was a subtle, unvoiced gesture of solace, expressed in the only manner he understood. "Yes, I confess." He nodded, his gaze drifting to the stove, a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken tension that lingered in the air. "Wonderful. Take a seat." I truly did. In that moment, a flicker of connection ignited within me, dispelling the shadows of solitude that had lingered for far too long. As I sat in my childhood home, a wave of nostalgia washed over me, pulling me back to a part of myself I thought I had left behind, a part that stirred with unspoken longings. The wooden kitchen table stood unchanged, a relic from my childhood, its scratches and dents whispering tales of a time long before Natalia entered my life, a time untouched by the sharp sting of betrayal. My dad glided through the kitchen, his movements a familiar dance of quiet precision, as he reached for the skillet, cracked the eggs, and flipped the bacon with an effortless grace. He remained silent, allowing the weight of unspoken truths to linger in the air. "Not just yet." He allowed the silence to linger between us, unhurried, creating a sanctuary where I could find my voice when the moment felt right. Finding the courage to speak was a journey that stretched on for what felt like an eternity. "She betrayed me," I finally whispered, my gaze fixed on the intricate patterns of the table's surface. "That's the reason I walked away." I sensed his momentary hesitation, yet his expression remained unfazed. He exhaled softly, the sound mingling with the sizzling bacon as he carefully transferred it onto a plate. He placed it before me, a silent invitation laden with unspoken longing. I sensed it was something along those lines. My brow furrowed as I gazed up at him, a whirlwind of feelings stirring within me. "What are you trying to say?" He leaned back, a hint of mischief in his eyes as he settled into the chair opposite me, his plate a silent testament to the tension lingering in the air. "Your voice had a certain allure on the phone. And I understand you wouldn't simply walk away unless you were driven by an undeniable force." I grasped the fork, my movements hesitant as I nudged the eggs, lost in a swirl of unspoken longing. "I did have a choice," I whispered to myself. "I might have lingered a little longer. I might have faced her. I might have given her the chance to reveal her truth. Could that have altered the course of our feelings?" I tightened my jaw, a storm of feelings brewing within me. "No. In that moment you chose wisely." A hollow chuckle escaped my lips. "It seems distant, almost out of reach." He savored each bite, lost in a whirlwind of longing and reflection. "Not just yet," he confessed. "Yet it shall." Doubt lingered in my mind, casting shadows over my convictions. We sat together in a heavy silence, the air thick with unspoken words, the only sounds being the soft hum of the fridge and the delicate clink of silverware against plates. It was oddly familiar, as if I had never truly left behind everything I once knew. As if I hadn't just walked away from a woman who had once embodied all my dreams. As we concluded, my Henry rose and retrieved a couple of beers from the fridge, gently sliding one across the table toward me. "Come on," he urged, gesturing toward the back porch with a knowing glance. "Let's escape to the outside for a moment, where the air is thick with unspoken longing." I trailed behind him, entering the sultry embrace of the night. The backyard felt diminished, a shadow of my memories. Yet the old oak tree remained steadfast in the corner, its branches reaching out as they once did in my youth. We settled into the familiar, weathered wooden chairs, relics of a time long past, their presence steeped in memories that tugged at my heart. My dad popped the top off his beer, savored the first sip, and then reclined, his gaze lost in the vastness of the sky. After an agonizing silence, he finally found the courage to speak. "It's true, your mother and I faced our share of challenges as well." My eyes widened, unprepared for the unexpected stir within me. He had never spoken of my mother in such a way before. Not since she left this world. "What are you trying to say?" I inquired with a delicate touch. He breathed out slowly, his fingers tracing the contours of the bottle, lost in a moment of longing. Though she remained faithful, we navigated through tumultuous times together. Marriage often unfolds in ways that defy expectations. There are moments when you find yourself beside another, only to feel the weight of unfamiliarity pressing down, stirring a longing deep within. I took a deep breath. That's precisely the sensation that enveloped me during those final moments with Natalia, as if she were an unfamiliar soul wandering through the very heart of my sanctuary. "Has she ever acted in a way that made you question her loyalty?" I inquired. He turned away, a storm of feelings swirling within him. "No." Yet that is not the essence of the matter. In those fleeting moments, when the world fades away, the true essence of a person reveals itself, unguarded and raw. The choice lies within you, to embrace their words or to turn away from them. I gazed into my beer, his words lingering in the air, stirring something deep within me. He spoke softly, revealing a truth that stirred something deep within you, and you surrendered to her truth. Words escaped me in that moment. We lingered in silence, gazing at the stars, as the heaviness of unspoken feelings enveloped us. For the first time since I had departed, I sensed a profound change within me, as if I was no longer merely escaping. It felt as though I was on the brink of a profound transformation. The following morning, I awoke with a sense of buoyancy that had eluded me for weeks. It wasn't that all was suddenly well, quite the opposite. Yet, for the first time since my life had been turned on its head, I found myself no longer suffocating in the chaos. I ventured into the early morning light, inhaling the intoxicating aroma of pine and freshly mown grass, awakening something deep within me. My Henry sat on the porch, cradling a weathered mug of coffee, its presence a nostalgic echo from my childhood. Silence enveloped us as I took my place beside him, the air thick with unspoken tension. For what felt like an eternity, we lingered in that moment, captivated by the sun's gentle ascent over the backyard. At last, his voice broke the silence. "What comes after this moment?" It was the inquiry I had long evaded, the one my heart wasn't prepared to confront. But now I embraced it without fear. "I find myself at a loss," I confessed. "Yet, I believe that's perfectly acceptable." He nodded, savoring the warmth of the coffee as it enveloped him in a moment of quiet longing. "Indeed, it is." I reflected on the life I had abandoned, the apartment that would remain untouched, the wedding that would remain a dream, the woman I once envisioned as my eternal companion. Everything had slipped away, leaving only echoes of what once was. Yet, for the first time, it felt like a revelation rather than a void. It was a release, an exhilarating escape from the confines of expectation. I looked to my Henry. I feel an overwhelming urge to linger here, to savor this moment just a little longer. A subtle smile danced at the edge of his lips, hinting at unspoken longings. "I had a feeling you would." In that moment, a wave of clarity washed over me, affirming that my decision was undeniably true. I had finally stopped fleeing. I was merely wandering through the depths of my own heart. I found myself in the very place that felt destined, a moment charged with unspoken longing.